And folks, if you want the definitive film on eugenics, it's right here. Alex Jones, Endgame. I can't even go over everything that is in this picture. For the New World Order, a world government is just the beginning. Once in place, they can engage in their plan to exterminate 80% of the world's population while enabling the elites to live forever with the aid of advanced technology. And there was just a story in mainstream media yesterday about this pill that they were giving rats, and they were living up to 9 to 14% longer. Life extension's out there. It's tough to find on the web, but I've seen numerous mainstream articles, stories, papers, all about life extension technology, and I might even disagree a little bit here. First of all, we are under the New World Order program right now. Whether we have full global governance or their apex of what they want, the top of the pyramid, whether that's built or not is almost a moot point, because I don't think that they need that global government to kill 80% of us. I mean, they have 4.9 billion swine flu vaccines ready to go. And a population that is just so brain dead, they're willing to take it. You know, again, I'm at this wedding, and, you know, the person that's getting married, her dad is, you know, one of the top guys in the town. He's the town lawyer, and the other guy there is one of the head board members. Let me just tell you how corrupt my town is. I get there, and I'm riding around in my stepfather's van with my brother. All this, I'm in this small town, folks. I've got Amish people in my town, okay? I saw a ton of Amish people. Side point. All of a sudden, I see a golf cart turn over to the side. And I'm like, what is this? And then my brother waves to the golf cart. Guy in the golf cart waves back. I'm driving, so I'm not paying that much attention. I'm like, who's that? And he's like, that's the chief of police. And I turn over, and he's in full uniform. He's on duty. And I'm like, well, what's he doing in a golf cart? He's like, well, he actually got a couple of DWIs, not even DUIs, DWIs. And he's not allowed to operate the police vehicles anymore. And I'm like, I'm blown away. I've got my little handy cam. I decide to tape it because I don't think anybody's going to believe me. So I go to the wedding, and I'm telling Mr. K, that's what we'll call him, Mr. K, about this. And he says he doesn't know anything about it. He's on the board, blah, blah, blah. I show him the videotape. Now he's paying attention, you know, because, I'm the crazy guy. No need to listen to Jason Bermas. He's only, right 9 out of 10 times. He's only the one that tells the real news. So he looks at it, and he's like, well, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. So Mr. S, we'll call him, he comes in. Mr. K is asking. Mr. K is coming up to me a couple times in this first night, having me show the video to other people because it looks like he didn't know about it. Now, Mr. S should know about it because he's on the board, and he's a nice enough guy. He's an ex-superintendent of the schools. He was very good to me as a child, everything else. Now, Mr. S says, oh, well, I'll get to the bottom of this. By wedding day, I was a nut again because he was riding around supposedly putting out flyers for the July 4th thing, for non-parking. Now, I didn't see one flyer in this guy's hand. I saw him 4 separate times while I was there on Thursday. Never saw a flyer in my life, and they said, no, there were no DWIs. And now I'm the crazy guy again. And, again, I heard it from my brother, so I wanted to confirm it. I go back to my hometown. I get it confirmed by 5 separate people that he had DWIs. That just shows you the amount of willful ignorance and cover-up in a small town. He knows this guy has DWIs. One of the guys I talked to went to the board meeting and screamed about it as they kind of just laughed at him. It's okay, we have a chief of police that's a drunk. Now, how can a drunk, a guy with 2 DWIs, rightfully pull somebody over and do the same to him? Doesn't make a lot of sense. I had a great time out there, but just the level of corruption and just the loops that people are willing to spin in to make their logic seem correct, okay? To make their viewpoint seem right. Another couple of my really good friends, one of them works in the Albany Plaza. She works basically with the entire local government there. She works with Brian Stratton, the Schenectady mayor's wife, who's heavy into the pharmaceutical industry, I learned as well, yeah. She's going to love it when we all take those swine flu vaccinations because they're going to make a buttload of money. Anyway, I mentioned to her, I'm like, well, what about this Schenectady mayor who wanted to declare martial law and get rid of the police department? And they acted like they'd never heard of it. I had to bring up the article and show them. And I'm like, well, can you hook me up with Stratton? Can you get him on the program? I would love to be able, well, I really can't do that. That might cost me my job. And it's just so sad to me that, they're willing to live in their little world. She's a very good person, love her to death. Her and her husband are good people. but they still work for the system. The husband's a little more informed. I mean, he's listening to this program. He's listening to, other alternative radio. He is checking out Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv for information. But at the same time, he doesn't get it all. He gets some of it, For instance, we were talking about robotics, and this is something that I wanted to bring up before I go to our next caller. We're going to go to Terry, Rob, Rick, and more in just a moment. Robot learns to smile and frown. It's right here for PrisonPlanet.tv. And yes, that is Albert Einstein right here. I've been harping on the Robo Penguin, which, by the way, I brought up at the wedding. It didn't exist. I had to show a video of it, and even when I showed the video of it, you sure that's not CG? I'm like, no, that is really the Robo Penguin from Festo. Look, they have a stingray. Look, I showed them the Robo Fish, the carp. Technology, AI, it's here. Robot learns to smile and frown. A hyper-realistic Einstein robot at the University of California, San Diego, has learned to smile and make facial expressions through a process of self-guided learning. The UC San Diego researchers used machine learning to empower their robots to learn and make more realistic facial expressions. As far as we know, no other research group has used machine learning to teach a robot to make realistic facial expressions. Now, there is Hanson Robotics out here in Austin, Texas, actually, where they're doing a similar program. I don't know if it's as far advanced as this. However, they have built Philip K. Dick, the science fiction author, and they're trying to make him more hyper-realistic. It looks incredible. You can type Joey Chaos into YouTube, and you can watch this as well. And when Joey Chaos can't answer a question, for example, he can answer a lot of questions, but I think they ask him about McDonald's, and he doesn't know much about McDonald's, so he says, well, although we are not as advanced as the robots in Blade Runner, if you look at the 70s, a supercomputer filled up an entire room, and that same amount of processing power is now available in something that is handheld. It makes a great point there. So he's saying, look, I may be in the first stages of being an artificially intelligent android, but give me 10 years and wait till you see how advanced we are. And this is the public stuff. So, I just like to keep people in the loop about technology, especially when this technology is being used for warfare. We've got the Ripsaw, which is a tank that has a 25 caliber weapon on it. We have the XM25, which is a gun for soldiers. Let me say this again. A gun for soldiers that has a microchip in every single bullet. And they can see through walls, okay? This is just like The Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger, a movie that came out 15 years ago. They can see through walls. They have a heat signature on their target. They then can shoot around buildings or through buildings because it's guided by microchip technology. And then this 25 caliber weapon, after it hones in on its target, explodes within 3 meters of the target, killing everybody around. And that's what's available today in the public eye. Let's not forget the story just last week where they had to admit that Hitler had a stealth bomber. I know all of you out there think that stealth technology was something that just came into being in the late 80s, early 90s, and we saw it in the first Gulf War. No, Hitler had one, and it just came out a week ago. You don't think that they can hide things? You don't think that it's compartmentalized? You don't think secrets are kept? You got another thing coming, folks. Just type it in, Hitler stealth bomb. They did an entire History Channel special on it. We took that from the Nazis. That's how crazy things are. And they're showing you smiling robots in the public eye. Can you imagine what are in the depths of the underground bases at U.S. military facilities? Can you imagine what Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and all these other military-industrial goons are really working on? It's almost beyond imagination. And a couple of these UAVs and ground vehicles, if you will, are now being controlled by literal Xbox controllers. They're trying to get human beings to disassociate themselves with the enemy, dehumanize the enemy to a screen where they take an Xbox controller and actually carry out executions. Again, this is reality. This is now. All right, let's take some callers. Let's go to Terry in Indiana. Terry, you're online.
Hey, Jason, thanks for taking my call. Great job you guys are doing. I have a couple of quick comments, and then I have a question for you.
Sure.
My comments are, my first one is, I don't know what's wrong with the American people. I mean, you can see any type of article anywhere, online and go to the comment section, and they're going back and forth, the left-right thing as usual. And you can interject in there, talk about the CFR, Trilateral Commission, everything, give them references, leave links, and they'll just ignore you and just keep on arguing with one another. It's amazing the brainwashing that's going on in this country. And the fellow African Americans, we're almost hopeless. I mean, it's like Obama has just, I don't know what he's done to them. He can do no wrong. He's a savior. It's repulsive.
Well, let me say this, man. They're using